The service-oriented approach to linking software systems and applications is transforming the way many organizations share data. This approach improves existing methods of data sharing by providing a service layer between systems.
My name's Graham Attwell, and what I'm doing today is giving you PLE's Digested. You've read The Guardian, you know, the one-page article, the book Digested. This is PLE's Digested, PLE's in 8 minutes.
The process is laborious and time-consuming, leading to bottlenecks and overload. The reality of this world is unnecessary effort expended in duplication of data.
And as part of that, we're beginning to recognise the importance of informal learning. I think it's Jay Cross who said 90% of learning is probably informal, but we spend 95% of our education budgets on formal learning. We're funding the small bit. We're paying not enough attention, and people begin to recognise the importance of informal learning.
Take monitoring of student progress, for example. Results are logged by a virtual learning environment, but how much of that data is shared with a management system that is tracking progression against funding? If the motivation and commitment of struggling students is not addressed and they decide to walk away, there is a direct impact on funding. If the data is freed up and shared across a system using a service-oriented approach, it could contribute to retaining student motivation and thereby maximising income.
The third thing I think is we're beginning to recognise we don't all learn the same way. Now, I'm not into learning style theory as such, but I think we have different styles of learning. I don't have one style of learning. I have a lot of styles of learning. My best style of learning is actually talking to people in pubs. That's where I probably learn most.
By applying a service layer to the applications you wish to connect up, data is offered up in a common format for reuse elsewhere.
If that's important, shouldn't we be recognising it in the electronic environments we provide for learners? And the fourth one is new approaches to assessment and the recognition of learning. Exams are not enough. I talk a lot to employers. Employers are telling me it's a real problem now. When people come along with their exam certificates or with what's being called their portfolios, which is a collection of exam certificates in a nice leather or fake leather folder, we can't tell, and I worked on developing those things, we can't tell what someone can do.
The service-oriented approach works with existing software systems and does not require you to remove the monolithic application. Replacement applications reuse the links already made and can plug into the service layer without affecting other users of the data.
Okay, searching, lurking and zone of proximal development, no time for the theory on that, but I'll come back to that. Vygotsky's idea, we lurk all around the internet, learning, joining in communities, mishmashing between those communities, not one community, but many communities, and I think that's dead important.
Many education and research services are already developing a service-oriented approach, taking their lead from the business world and major software developers. It is in this context that the E-Framework, a successful and expanding international initiative, works to make sense of the service-oriented approach for the education and research community.
And I think that e-learning has been marked by 3 policy discourses. First, commodification, attempts to turn learning into a commodity which can be bought and sold, and I won't mention Blackboard.
And what if across the education community there was one standard and agreed way to describe a course? It would allow course information to be made available as a consumable service, both internally and externally.
Secondly, privatisation. We have de facto privatised our education infrastructure to private companies, and I regret that move, and I think we've got to move back against that.
Amongst the research community, it is the same principle. Here, the service-oriented approach is enabling researchers to work across institutions in virtual organisations.
And this, of course, is the ultimate nightmare of what's that resulted in. This is an official SCORM picture. This is not something I've dreamt up. This was published by SCORM. And the frightening bit, okay, it's frightening enough. You see what happens, we get our learning objects on the left, they go through a learning management system, they're blasted into the brain. Yeah, but look at who SCORM define as the learners, top of the list, war fighters, students, technicians. I'm professional. You lot. You come before anyone in that list. I honestly did not make that picture up. It's a published learning. I can give you the way it comes from. That's the official SCORM definition.
MyGrid is a project that provides a shared toolkit for creating experiments by coordinating the information flow between distributed resources and services.
I'm a historian, not a technologist. And I want to know why these things are happening. Why are these things changing?
Workflows and query specifications link together remote and local resources using web service protocols. Workflows created by MyGrid represent the scientific process of the experiments they enact, making them a rich resource for scientists creating their own new experiments.
And learning is messy. It's not neat. It's not nice pigeonholes we can put people into. And of course, LimeWire is there. That's quite an important bit of my learning environment. We won't go into that anymore. That's some robots, which a friend of mine is using in Germany for teaching and getting kids making. They stay behind after school to do this.
The eFramework website identifies and describes the service components needed. It provides the blueprints and reference examples for those in the community who want to gain a greater understanding and knowledge of how to implement a service-oriented approach. The eFramework website is thus becoming a knowledge base that is developing a shared vocabulary and way of thinking for all in education and research.
We don't know, that doesn't mean enough. We need something better, better, better. You've been listening to Graham Attwell talking about personal learning environments. This session was recorded at the ALT-C 2006 conference in Edinburgh. This is a Pontadusky production.
In the summertime, when the wind is slow, in the